normal time. Liverpool 3-0. Corner taken quickly, Origi!
Hello and welcome to the Redscast podcast. The Reds are BACK back, baby! 3-1 win against Tottenham. Made up. I'm joined today by Ste. And I'm also joined by a Spurs fan. Graham, how are we doing, mate?
Yeah, not too bad, buddy.
Not too bad. How's it feel to be beaten by Liverpool? We're shit at the minute.
It's going to start like that, is it? Right, okay. No, to be fair, you were the best team on the night. And you played a team that can't defend for toffee. So, yeah, to be fair, you didn't score a goal since, was it 28th of December? And then you can't bang three past us. So, it doesn't really say much for our defence.
Why do you think that is, though? Because Mourinho is notorious for being like a really good, like setting up as the team, really good defensively.
He hasn't got a game B. So basically, it'll be a case of we'll go out, we'll play five at the back against your three up front, which is deadly from the start. He plays people out of position. He likes Dyer because Dyer speaks Portuguese. That's basically the reason he gets in the team. He's not a centre back. He never has been a centre back. Toby on the bench. Obviously, Reguilon was injured, which was a massive blow. I think if Reguilon was playing and darting down the wings, it might have been a bit different. But Doherty, Aurier, Rodon. I mean, if you look at your club, your two main central defenders are out, and they are class. However, if you look at your two right back and left back, they're the best in the country by a mile. So you've got that always going forward. You've got that defensive-minded player as well. We've got Aurier and Doherty. It's not even a close resemblance.
Well, didn't Aurier apparently leave at half-time as well?
Yeah, supposedly there was a row between Lloris, Dyer and Aurier. He was complaining that one of them should have got the ball out or cleared it for the first goal. I'll make him right, but I think the way that he acted, Mourinho said he doesn't want that around the club and sent him home out of the stadium and back home. So he's going to be gone. I don't think he'll play for us again, which it's not really an issue. Really, it's a bit of a calamity. But we were there for him when his brother was murdered and stuff. So I'd expect him to show a bit more respect to the club.
Yeah, Ste, how do you feel finally getting a win?
It's fantastic, isn't it? We've had a month of absolute, and I say depression, it's not all that bad, but where we've come from, the heights that we were at, and we've just had a month of, you'd probably call it average football, considering where we are on the table.
I wouldn't even call it average.
No, but look, we're still in the mixer for the Champions League spot after a month of arguably the worst football we've played in 5 years.
Yeah.
To go away to Spurs and get 3 points, regardless of who's in charge, who they're playing, it's not to be sniffed at.
Well, Liverpool always seem to turn up against the bigger teams, don't they? When you think back to a couple of seasons ago when we were playing Leicester, everyone was saying, they're going to turn you over, and then we turned up and dominated them when they were our closest rivals around Boxing Day. What do you think it is? Do you think the motivation's back at Liverpool when they play a bigger team and it'll send us on a run? Do you think it was scoring the 2 goals against United give us the confidence to go and score again? What is it? Because even Trent looked back to his absolute best, and since Palace, he's been arguably one of the poorest players on the pitch.
Yeah, Trent's massive. Bobby Firmino as well. I thought he's been off for a few weeks, and against Spurs, I thought he was fantastic. Past few weeks, he hasn't been at it. The ball's been bouncing off his knee. He couldn't get the ball under control. Second touch is always a tackle. He's been off. Now, against Spurs, the ball stuck. And he was back to being that glue again. So that helped. I thought Mane was fantastic. But getting back to Trent, he's been probably one of our worst performers over the past month. Graham, I don't know whether you've watched much of our games, but Trent has not been up to standard. But yeah, he was back. He was pinging crosses in. The accuracy was there. The defensive side of his game still not quite there. He was getting dribbled past a little bit, but I thought massive improvement from Trent.
Graham, you had 49% of the possession, which is one of the highest possessions that people have had against Liverpool in recent weeks, but you've only managed to have 2 shots on target. I know you mentioned your defence, but you've arguably got one of the best attacks in the league and you aren't having any shots or any chances. Why do you think that is?
Well, yeah, I mean, if you look at your makeshift centre-back, or both of them makeshift centre-backs, we've got Kane and Son, which I think is the best partnership that the Premier League's seen since Shearer and Sutton. The way that they play together, the way that the telepathy, we just couldn't get anything. We haven't got a midfield. We've got Holberg, brilliant player. He holds it. He dominates it. He's a solid midfield. Apart from that, when you look around the left and the right side, we just haven't got anyone that can create a pass for a striker to run onto. If it's not Son creating for Kane or Kane creating for Son, there is no creative midfielder that we've got in the club that can just ping a ball out. We lost Eriksen. Okay, he wasn't playing great when he ended up leaving and with his bad attitude, but he hasn't done well at Inter, so that's karma. But we haven't got that spark. And then so when Kane goes off injured, we bought a backup striker. We've got Gareth Bale, a Champions League winner, sitting on the bench, and he brings on Eric Lamela.
And I was going to ask you for that because you're a starting big line. You've got Gareth Bale. Why?
I honestly believe, and I've got so much abuse online for this. I think Bale was bought for shirt signings, or he was bought back in to make up some revenue because we knew we weren't going to have players in the stadium, fans in the stadium. We've got a debt on the stadium. People say we haven't. We have. We've got £1 billion debt. I don't care what anyone says. There's no way that stadium's paid for. And he was bought in for shirt. I don't think Jose wanted him, if I'm perfectly honest. I think it was just a case of like a marquee match, marquee sign, get him in, bring up the morale in the club. And he came on against you guys. I thought to myself, okay, he got 10 minutes left. He wasn't going to particularly do much. We were 3-1 down. But he came on chewing gum. And I just thought, you've been pulled on. We're 3-1 down. This is your chance now. And everyone's like, yeah, but he was great against Wickham. Against Wickham. Do you know what I mean? I forgot in the Wickham side.
Yeah, you'd expect them to be good against Wickham, wouldn't you?
And I just kind of thought to myself, when Bale could have come on then at half-time, played up front with Son, you've got pace, go against Henderson. Henderson hasn't got pace. That's one thing he hasn't got. Yeah. So, to play against him and to go up, ball over the top and make Son run onto it, we would have had more success. But it was just... And then Harry Winks was brought on. Winks. Mate, I swear to God, the crab. He cannot play a forward ball. But
can I just interrupt you, Graham? A few years back, me and Matty called Henderson the crab. Now look where he is now.
Well, that's because he's got talent, and that's because he's not just a graduate that we have to keep for the quota's sake. Do you know what I mean? We can't buy foreign players at the moment because of the quota the Premier League asked for. There was talks about bringing Eriksen back. Never in a million years should he be back at Spurs after what he did. But Vinicius is the same. He's brought in. Jose plays him in, Carabao Cup games and games against Wickham.
Played
it's no good.
Marine, didn't he?
He played a full game at Marine. A full game. That's an insult, I think. But again, they play against us. I didn't think they played particularly bad. I know they're local to you guys. I thought they put on a good show, to be fair.
Why do you think Lucas Moura is not getting a sniff then? Because I thought he was decent, to be fair, every time I've seen him play for Spurs.
Lucas Moura, the thing is with Moura is, I've said this to Steve before, that season when we got to the Champions League final, Spurs fans were completely and utterly spoilt. We were playing attacking football, we were getting results where we shouldn't have been getting them. Moura hat-trick in the semi-final. Never in a million years would you have put that on. Yeah. All Moura's got is pace. He's got passion, but he's got pace. And once you kind of get a defender like Trent or like Robertson that can read him, he doesn't give you anything else. He puts his head down and he runs, and he doesn't. And I think Mourinho sees that as he wants people that will. That's why Bale's not playing, because he wants people that will attack and then get back. And Bale ain't going to do that. Moore ain't going to do that. That's why Lamella comes on, because he runs around like a headless chicken, but he gets them down the pitch, and that's what Mourinho wants. But unfortunately, that's not the way Spurs play.
I had this picture in my head that Lamella was a creative player.
No, he's terrible.
Clearly, I don't watch enough Spurs games to.
He's terrible. He's so
comment
bad.
accurately on that.
That shows that.
Steve, speaking about where they said about Graham just said about Bale for shirt sales, I seen something on Twitter the other day. I'm going to hit you with this, see what you think. Takumi Minamino's only been bought for the Asian market, in a sense of he only plays the 12-30 games because they're perfect for the Asian market. Do you reckon that's true?
I reckon that. I've never really thought about that, but yeah, that could be a shout. I remember United doing it years ago with a South Korean guy. That's the fella, yeah. I mean,
he was decent though.
Yeah, he's probably a bit better, but I reckon a lot of that was down to shirt sales and commercial revenue from the Far East. Now, Minamino, I'm not sure how much of a draw he actually is to that market.
Oh, he's huge.
He's Japanese.
He's huge. I think he's the best. He's the best player in Japan. Easily, it's massive for them. His numbers before he came to Liverpool, obviously he was only playing in Austria, but they were phenomenal. So he's massive. He's like probably is the modern day equivalent of Park Ji-sung in terms of popularity in Japan.
So he's like their poster boy,
yeah,
so to speak.
Yeah.
Neymar.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. What do you think the Ox needs to do to get back in the team, Steve? Because we've seen Divock Origi come back on. I don't know if that was more just to like rub salt into Spurs' wounds that we can bring Divock Origi. But
remember this fella.
But the Ox just doesn't seem to be getting. I know he's come back from an injury, but even Curtis Jones is getting on ahead of him now, which obviously speaks volumes for him. But why do you think the Ox has found himself mainly benched now?
I look at him and I'm thinking, what does he have to do? And then you think further back when he was at Arsenal and you're thinking, what does he have to do to get in the team? There's clearly some underlying issue there. Let's be honest, he's probably too busy at home shagging that gorgeous wife of his to concentrate on football, and who can blame him? But to the quality, you can't argue. You can see there's a player in there.
I love
There's definitely a player there, but for some reason it's just not clicking for him. Maybe he needs, I don't know, go and play for Spurs or something.
It starts.
With your lineup, though, Graham, don't you think it was sort of suicidal to play two midfielders against Liverpool's midfield, which included Thiago?
I said to Steve earlier, actually, I said, I spoke to him the other day, the minute our team was announced, if we didn't score first, we were going to lose. For the simple reason that it was so defensive that it played into your hands massively. Thiago, what he's done since he left Bayern, I think I heard a stat when they were commentating that out of 10 seasons, he's won 9 trophies or 9 leagues.
Yeah.
10 seasons that he's played. The bloke's an absolute machine. But unfortunately, what it comes down to is that when you've got class in midfield that can own a game, like Thiago, who can control it, can pass it out, when you play 2 against him, he's going to make you look stupid. We needed to compact that midfield. The wings weren't a problem because we had, if we wanted to put Son out on the wide, he could have been a winger. To put Doherty and I think Doherty and Davis on the wings and leave that midfield free to let a creative player like Thiago own the game it's Mourinho. I just don't understand it. I can't. 1 minute he can do an amazing job, like the City game. We bossed it. We didn't have much possession, but we knew what we were doing. We counter-attacked, we won. United away, smashed them to pieces. Liverpool at home, it was like Bobby was always going to score, 100%. He doesn't not score against us. But I think the way that the VAR in the first 4 minutes, 5 minutes of the game for both sides was a disgrace. And I think it changed the way the whole game was played. I don't know if your keeper should have been penalised for a handball. It was outside the box on review, but obviously VAR wasn't used for that. But yeah, it's all swings and roundabouts. But the bottom line of the day is that you was much better than us. I mean, you believed you were going to win from the minute you got off the bus. And I think that's where your mentality is different to majority of the people in the Premier League that haven't won it. So the likes of, Spurs, the likes of West Ham, the middle clubs, Everton's, you've got a mentality where you've won so much that you'll just have it in your mind when you get off a bus, you're going to win it. Where Spurs sit there and just be Spurs. We haven't got that. We haven't got that big mentality. We're now back to what Ferguson said years ago. His team talk at United years ago was, "It's only Spurs." Do you know what I mean? And that was his team talk for United, and they came out and smashed us because they know they were going to win. And we're back there again with Mourinho.
Speaking of VAR, Steve, it was a shambles. Some was offside, but I just can't stand all these armpit offsides myself personally. I think we should just let the referees be referees. People are human, people make mistakes. Alisson did handle the ball on the outside of the box, but like Graham said, it wasn't looked at. And then the Bobby situation, was that a handball? Really?
That's such a tough one, isn't it?
What do you say, Graham?
It was Dyer that handballed it originally, and obviously it bounced up and hit Firmino. To give that far back as well, it wasn't even the same passage of play, I don't think. I think it was like the second ball before the ball that was played onto him. VAR's ruining the game, unfortunately.
Well, with the Bobby thing, I felt like he actually moved. If you watch it back and slow, he moved his arm into it a little bit. So I would say it was handball, but then I wouldn't say that it should have been Spurs' ball, because that was a foul all day by Dyer on Firmino. Steve?
You're right. Dyer,
he had two hands around him, didn't he? Like two hands gripping onto his shirt. So there's a foul. Then it bounces off his arm onto Firmino. Now, in slow motion, it does look like Firmino made a move towards the ball with his arm. Now, is that because he's getting fouled, or is that a deliberate movement?
I think it looked more
That's not clear cut for me.
I think.
Well, if you look at the actual video, if you look at the way that Dyer was holding him from behind, Dyer's left hand was underneath Firmino's arm. So there's no way that his arm couldn't have moved up towards the ball because it was being pressurised. And obviously people go, "Oh, yeah, you should be saying that." Well, it's fact. I don't like bullshit. Do you know what I mean? If you're gonna speak honestly about football, speak honestly about it. But I'm an honest Tottenham fan, and it pisses people off, but I don't care.
What do you think of Toby Alderweireld then getting left out? Because I would go as far as saying he's probably Tottenham's best centre half, isn't he?
He is Tottenham's best centre half. He controls the back four. He organises it. When Jan went, which was a massive mistake, he was always going to stand up and be. He should be captain, in my opinion. I think he should be the one that controls the back, controls the people in front of him. Lloris, he's not got it anymore. Do you know what I mean? He's a good goalkeeper. Don't get me wrong, he makes some amazing saves. He kept us in the game early on. But his decision making for the second goal, that's not a well keeper.
No,
and
it's
he should be
terrible.
captain. That is shout. All he does is shout out keepers or get out. I mean, if you listen to a Spurs game, he must shout "get out" at the defence 15 times a game, and they don't listen to him. They just sit back and defend in their own box. So we need a captain that's going to believe. I mean, I think Holberg is a perfect future captain for Spurs if he stays, because I think he's like a midfield dynamo. He's like Stefan Freund was for us, a boss.
I mean, I haven't really seen much of him, but that goal, world class, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, you half hit that. I don't know if he meant it, but it was a nice slice of the ball. But yeah, he half hit it, and he's got passion, and that's one thing that Spurs players at the moment. If you look at our team, we've got three players in our squad that would get in any team in the Premier League, in Kane, Son, and Holberg. But the rest, they're just average.
Yeah, well, Steve, you actually thought Liverpool were too slow coming out of Højbjerg, didn't you?
I did. I've watched it back again, and I think I was probably being a bit harsh at the time.
Definitely harsh. Milner was getting held.
There was one player, I can't remember who it was, that I was like, why hasn't he run out? And then I watched it again, and he's been blocked off by one of the Spurs attackers, and I thought, okay,
yeah, it was Milner.
enough.
It was Milner. It was Ndombele was blocking him off, but it was, in my opinion, it was a perfect goal from Spurs. Obviously, they had someone isolating Milner who could have come out and stop the shot. So they had him, Ndombele isolating him. Unbelievable shot, whether he meant it or not. It's world class, absolutely world class. And
it's just a goal for the club as well, which is a absolute beast of a goal after your first, a bit like Danny Rose's.
Yeah, I mean, he actually had the 88.3% accurate passes as well in the game. He attempted 11 long balls, won 14 ground duels as well. Højbjerg, he was probably Tottenham's best player by a country mile, really, wasn't he?
He has been all season. He's Mr. Consistent, mate. He does the job. He tackles. He puts the ball when he wins it back. I forgot to say actually during that the free plays, it should be four really. And Ndombele this season has just been a revelation. His control and his ball, winning skills. He's very good. Very good. I mean, I'm hoping Mourinho's found a gem in him, which we'll see. He'll probably go with Kane and Son.
The only thing I don't understand with Spurs' tactics that game was, if anyone else went into that game with Son up top, basically, you could quite clearly see the balls over the top were working because Liverpool had no pace in the back. But then you just seem to have stopped them. I don't get why.
It gets to the point where this is why I was worried about if we scored early. Because if we scored early, what would have happened? Well, if Kane's goal had stood after 5 minutes, we would have defended for 85 minutes. That is what Mourinho says. Get the lead. Don't try and push for 3 or 4. Just get one and defend. So once we've done it, it was like their mindset was, well, we've done it once and we scored. So we've done what we needed to do now, and we'll just defend. But unfortunately, we haven't. We rode on. What the fuck? What is he? Like, I know he's a youngster and all that, but he just looked at the ball. That's schoolboy defending. Dyer did the same. Lloris did the same. And then it was just a shambles and a complete and utter shambles. And it hurt more because that game was the one time I thought that we possibly have a chance of doing it. Only because of your defence. Yeah. But then when you've got your top three like you have, I mean, they're formidable.
Yeah, they are. I mean, when we was in Madrid, I was speaking to a few Tottenham fans, and I genuinely was worried for that game. Like, Tottenham are, on paper, a really, really good side, got some phenomenal players, but I think your biggest mistake was probably sacking Poch. I don't think Mourinho is a better manager than Poch. I don't know what your thoughts is on that.
It's still a very sore subject. I love the man. Do you know what I mean? I think Poch, like I said earlier, we were spoiled. We had runs that we would never dream of, nights out that we could never even think would ever happen for us. The attacking football, it was a case of, look, we're going to score goals and you've got to score more than us to win. So with 5-4s and 5-1s, and we just kind of went all out attack. It was great football to watch. Now, I mean, Pochettino, I'm glad for him actually. He'll go to PSG and he'll win trophies, and I think he deserves that. And I think it will be good for him to get to work with the likes of Neymar and to work with the likes of Mbappe, bad people with bad attitudes, and he'll learn how to deal with them. So when he comes back to Spurs and when Mourinho gets sacked, he'll be able to deal with the likes of people with egos, and then we'll be able to bring bigger people in and maybe compete. But we need centre backs, midfielders, and a goalkeeper.
I mean, he's only working with Mbappe until this summer, isn't he? Because he's on his way to the Reds.
So they say. I mean, if you sign in, mate, frightening. Absolutely frightening.
That's game over for everyone else if we get Mbappe.
Who'd you take out the team, though, Steve? Because, I mean, we could see in the Spurs game, when Bobby Firmino is on it, Liverpool are different class. If he's in the mood to play football, Liverpool are unbelievable. He was the difference ultimately, wasn't he, staying against Tottenham?
Yeah. I would say that for him to come in, we're going to lose one of that front three anyway. So I think whichever one of them three goes, that's ultimately who he's replacing. I can't see us keeping that front three. As long as don't forget we've got Jota there as well. I'm bringing Mbappe in. As good as that sounds, you can't keep all them happy. And you can't pay them all.
You could. You could put Bobby. You could put Bobby in centre mid, where like a little bit deeper, and play Salah through the middle and Mbappe on the right, and then Jota comes on in like the 60th minute and dominates as well.
Yeah, it's an option. I just think if that Mbappe deal is going to happen, we're going to have to fund it with one of them others. For me.
Yeah. Want to get your thoughts, Graham, then, before we let you go on. Liverpool have been massively linked with... I don't really watch Arsenal games, but I'm assuming you're probably a bit more knowledgeable than us because you absolutely can't stand them.
I've got the channel. Yeah, it's all good.
What's Mustafi like? Is he really as bad as everyone's saying?
He'll do you a job, but he's no... The problem with Mustafi is that he is captain slow. He has got zero pace. I mean, literally zero. I think he's like 79 rated on FIFA. Like, he's awful. But you know, the thing with Mustafi is that he will do you a job until Virgil comes back, which amazingly, is when you think about it, he does score a few goals, but his presence in your team, it's just his presence. Like, he is just, you miss him so much. But then at the same time, I still think you'll probably win the league.
Really?
With all of that, Mustafi.
Yeah,
I do.
Even
yeah,
I
it's
don't think.
Max is at the moment to lose. But I just think you've got that mentality about you. And like you say, Bobby Firmino is the forgotten one. But he's the one that causes so much drama across the whole pitch and panic in teams. But he's always the one that's never really spoken about. It's always Mane or Salah. But Firmino is an absolute world-class player. And if he keeps playing like he has been, now he seems back against Spurs, yeah, you'll probably end up winning the league again. Only by a small margin, but I think you will probably win it.
We usually got Brighton up next. Must win for you, really, isn't it? Because especially Arsenal are only 3 points behind you. I know you've got a game in hand, but 3 points behind you.
Yeah, they were 15 points behind us in December.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a must-win. I think it's a case of now of having to go out there and prove that you need to wear our badge, because there's a lot of players at the moment that are deadwood in our club, and they just wear the badge and they go out there and they earn their money, and then they go home. And they don't really care about the club. They don't care about the history. They don't really understand how, people say, oh, it's all about beating above Arsenal and finishing. No, it's not. It's not about that at all. Do you know what I mean? Arsenal haven't finished above us in years now. So then they're like a mid-league team now. Do you know what I mean? They're not really... West Ham are our biggest rivals now, and that's saying something. Same as Chelsea there. We've got them on Sunday. I'm not looking forward to that, because it's all going to be made about Mourinho. It's all going to be made out about him returning to these old haunts, and Mourinho versus the new manager, who I don't even know what his name is.
Thomas Tuchel. To be honest with you, I think he'll be all right against Chelsea, because I'm not a massive fan of Thomas Tuchel. He's always followed Klopp about, so he was the manager who took over. He was Klopp's assistant at Mainz, then took over, then went to Dortmund, but he's never won anything. People say he's won the league with PSG, but anyone can win that league in France with Mbappe and Neymar and Di Maria. He didn't win nothing at Dortmund. I think he's just an overhyped manager because he's young and he's won some things and got PSG to the Champions League final. But I don't think I'd even worry about Chelsea. I honestly do think Tottenham have the potential to be the strongest club in London. And it's mad to see like West Ham above you and stuff at the minute. Considering the team you've got, it's crazy. I don't understand it, to be honest.
No, it's a confusing situation, because it seems like these players, this is their chance, because they're not. Kane's going to be going. If he don't win silverware this season, Kane and Son will be gone, and then it's a case of rebuilding and having to start again. And we haven't got that mentality. We need winners to carry on. Klopp is I know obviously we talk about Mourinho being Champions League winner, this league winner, and he's got a winning mentality. Klopp's the same, but he seems to instill it into your players, where Mourinho just pisses players off and causes like a bad morale within the squad. And that's what's happening at Spurs now. You can see it when we play. We're not happy with the way that we're being asked to play, whereas Klopp asks Liverpool to play a certain way, and they enjoy playing that way, and it shows on the pitch.
I think with Mourinho, what he does is he comes in, he's decent. Like, if you're on the Spurs documentary on Amazon, I think it is, he comes across decent and funny, and
yeah.
He comes in as a decent manager, and then he gets bored, starts being a divvy just so he can get his millions of payoff, and then goes on to his next team.
It's no surprise that he gets sacked from every club that he's at, because he knows that he's...
Cool.
Well, he just knows that it's guaranteed payout, isn't it? You haven't got to work to get paid. He's not a stupid man. He's a very clever man. And he's back in the day, he was very tactile. He knew what he was doing. He knew the tactics. He had a new way of playing. What's happened is now is you've got the likes of Guardiola and Klopp that saw what he was doing and have adapted it to the modern game, whereas Mourinho is stuck in Porto. Do you know what I mean? It's exactly what it is. And unfortunately, unless you adapt to this game that moves and moves and moves every day, you're never going to catch up with the likes of, Guardiola. I mean, Klopp is excellent. I honestly think he's probably the best manager that I've seen in the Premier League since Ferguson.
Yeah, easily.
Yeah.
Easily. Pep's a bold fraud.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean,
to a club with no money.
you mentioned about Son going as well. If you don't win silverware, do you think he'd stay in the Prem? I'd love him. He's the one player in the league I'd absolutely love.
I would hope he would stay in the Premier League to get a chance to win something, because I don't begrudge people that want to go. If you've given your club everything and they haven't achieved, I don't begrudge you leaving to go find it elsewhere. It's the players that don't give the club everything, like Eriksen, then go to Inter Milan thinking they're going to smash it, and they get sat on the bench for the whole season. Do you know what I mean? So I want Kane to go. I want Son to go and succeed and do well. But I don't want him to leave, because obviously we'll be in shit street.
I'll give you the shout, Graham, for a player. You were talking about the creative attacking player. Would you like Philip Coutinho in that team?
No way. He is not going there.
We should have signed Jack Grealish 2 seasons ago.
100%.
There was a contract debate. I think it was over $2,500, and it wasn't paid to him.
He's paid Bale $300,000 a week.
Well, yeah, to sit on the bench. And I think Grealish would have been one. I would have took Coutinho. I was disappointed last year when we supposedly missed out on Dybala for naming rights.
Yeah.
Which I think Dybala would have been, to fit in there to take over the Eriksen role, would have just been, well, mind blowing.
Yeah,
it was all over his naming rights. Oh, he's a different class. But unfortunately, he comes with a name, and you've got to pay for that name. And Levy don't pay for Shaq.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think that Coutinho will come back to the Prem. Anyway, I don't think he's as good as he was at Liverpool. I think what's happened to Barcelona has massively knocked his confidence, and I don't think that's the answer for Spurs. I think someone like Grealish, someone who's young and hungry, rather than someone who's got no, like someone. I think it's someone who's English and young and hungry, like Grealish, is perfect for Spurs. Who will sort of get what Spurs are about.
Yeah, I totally agree. And we got that Jack Clarke as well from Leeds. We signed him 2 seasons ago. I think he's played 1 game for us. He's another one. He's young. He's English. He could play alongside Kane. Doesn't even get a look in, because he's not Mourinho's buyer. He's not Mourinho's boy. So
you have got someone in the academy. He scored against Marines. He's a scouser and he's world class, to be honest. Alfie Devine. I'd be very excited about him coming through.
Yeah, I mean, our academy has always brought in some amazing players. So I'm looking forward to the future. Unfortunately, the present is the thing that's starting to make me grey now. So it's just we've got to kind of get through this season. It's been a weird season anyway. It's been a strange old season, and it was one that we'll never see again. So
hopefully,
I think the fans missing from the stadiums makes a massive difference in results.
Yeah.
I saw Everton lost today to Newcastle 2-0.
Yeah.
So that was a massive result for them to mess up on. But yeah, and I just wanted to say as well, I didn't get a chance to leave a comment regarding Gerard Houllier. I just wanted to say how much of a gentleman that man was, and how much of a great manager he was, and what he did for Liverpool Football Club took them up to that next level, where now Klopp is continuing to take you on. And I do wish you for the best for the season, because I secretly like Liverpool. I don't particularly like telling people that, but they're a good club to watch.
I said that to Steve myself, because when I went to Madrid, I notoriously, Cockneys don't really get along with Scousers, and before I was going, I was saying to Steve, you can just see loads of murder, and do you know what? Every single Spurs fan I met was world class. Unbelievable. Such a nice fan base. And I come back and said to you that nice Steve, like, I have so much respect for Tottenham after that game. Like, after we won, people were walking past us on the street, shaking our hands, going, well played, like, you're an amazing team and stuff. And you could just tell you're very similar to Liverpool in terms of your fan base. You're just passionate, you just want what's best for your club.
Oh, 100%. There are a lot of... we're the last two or three seasons, we've had a lot more plastics come out. That all of a sudden came out because we started being in the Champions League and we were doing really well. And I'm sure Liverpool have got thousands of plastics houses. There's a few of them at my work. That have never been at the ground and don't care, will never ever be a supporter, so to speak. But yeah, we are a good fan. I don't understand the hate level that Spurs has. To Chelsea hate us, West Ham hate us, Arsenal hate us. I don't understand why the hatred is there for Spurs, because we're a good club. We're a club built on football basics. We're a club that's built on football morals. And we are a good footballing team. Maybe it's just the fact that we were good back in the day, and we're not so good now. And we kind of live off the history.
Yeah. One good thing is Everton got beat today for you, so
that is a huge result. Got to beat the Bum Boys, but we'll have to see how that goes.
But yeah, nice one for coming on, Graham. I appreciate it.
I really appreciate it. Good luck with the future and the season.
Yeah, I'm saying for you, hopefully you just get rid of that boring Brexit manager soon.
Let's hope so. And Steve, I'll see you on FIFA soon, mate, with my new team. Awesome it is.
Oh, yeah. Do you know what? I've not been on FIFA since probably November. And I've probably forgot how to play it now, to be honest.
It's the worst game going.
We're never really good at it anyway. So,
on that note.
Yeah, nice one, Graham.
Take it easy.
So, Graham's gone. Time to focus mainly on the Reds. Massive game tomorrow, isn't it, Steve? It's mad to even put them words into our mouth about West Ham and David Moyes, but it's huge, isn't it? It's a big must-win game for Liverpool. If West Ham win, they go above us. If we win, it puts us on to 40 points, and it's just massive, really, isn't it?
Yeah, for me, it's bigger than just West Ham. I think after such a good result against Spurs, whoever we play next, now that does happen to be West Ham, who in position-wise in the table makes a massive difference this week, but I think you've got to kick on. I think that game has to be the catalyst, that Spurs game, and we've now got to push on, and this is going to be a test of where we are.
Well, it puts us on to 40 points. It puts us back in third, level on points with United, providing that we would go level on points with United. I think they don't play.
Well, they play today, don't they, against Arsenal?
I think Arsenal beat them. Arsenal are in form today. By the time this goes out, the result would have already happened. So if I can predict the future, I think it could put us level on points with United. And then we're 4 points behind City. I know they'll still have a game in hand, but being 4 points behind City and still having to play them is massive, considering how bad we've been recently, isn't it?
It's incredible. And it just shows the state of the league this year. For any one team could have decided, I think anyone in that top probably 6 or 8 teams, if any one of them would have said at the beginning of the season, mate, we're having this, they could have just took it.
Yeah, well, between 1st and 7th, there's only 11 points.
Yeah. This time last year, we were about 25 points clear or something, weren't we?
21 points from Cross. But then, saying that, we were 6 points clear at Christmas.
Yeah.
And now we're 4 points off the pace. I mean, City have looked good. They're currently winning Sheffield United 1-0 at the time of recording this. But Sheffield United have been decent in recent weeks, so you never know. Even a draw there would do us the world of good. For the City result, Everton getting beat. Greg Graham said it's massive for them, but it's also a good result for us, because that could have put them a point behind Liverpool with a game in hand. So they've still got a game in hand now. So even if they win that, they can't go above us, which makes me feel good, because you don't want them to be above us ever, do you?
No, it takes a little bit of pressure off, doesn't it? And whether it be Everton, whether it be West Ham, whether it be Tottenham, it's one more team who can't catch us within one result. So it's that extra little bit of pressure taken off us, and I think the more that we see coming up in the few coming weeks, the better it'll be for our players.
I mean, because even tomorrow, Leicester play Leeds before us. So obviously, if they are to get beat, which you don't know with Leeds, they could come out and dominate the team, they could come out and get absolutely battered. Yeah. It'll be an interesting game. They both play attacking football. Rodgers' and Bielsa's styles of play are very similar, very, very similar.
If they absolute madness of a game, couldn't it?
Yeah. Even a draw there would be good for us, because if we win West Ham, we'll still go third. Obviously, Leicester losing would be better, but we could still go third. And the fact that we're still amongst the mix in terms of we're still fighting for the title. We're 4 points off if we win tomorrow off City. If they still win today, that is. If City actually get beat today, we're only a point off City if we win tomorrow. Which is...
And that's incredible.
It is really, considering we've lost 3 games this season, drew 7. We've only just got our 10th win, which is... It's mad. Like, out of 20 games, we've only just got our 10th win. It's just not... We haven't been Liverpool, but then someone said to me, I think it was Jay, he said to me that when Liverpool score a goal, this was before the United game, we'll be world class again. And we have been, haven't we?
Yeah, well, for one game. So that's what I said, tomorrow is massive in the sense that it'll show.
But I think that Tottenham game does them the world of good, to be honest. Like Klopp said after it, that was Liverpool. The way they played was Liverpool. Yeah. Trent was unbelievable in the Spurs game, and getting a goal and an assist, and his assist was an unbelievable pass.
That was proper Trent.
Yeah, and Mane getting a goal, that does him the world of confidence. Bobby being unbelievable, I think he got a goal and an assist, man of the match performance for me. Mm-hmm. That does him the world of good. And then you're going into West Ham with, I mean, Salah is always in and out in terms of confidence, but you're going into this game against West Ham with Mane confident, Bobby confident, Trent confident, Robbo's been amazing all season, Thiago had an amazing game, he's confident. I think we're going to absolutely batter them.
Yeah, I never worry when we play West Ham. I can't remember the time they've ever beat us. I'm sure they have, don't get me wrong, I'm sure they've beat us, but I think in recent history we've done very well against them. Getting back to the players even, Salah, like, although his goal was ruled off for offside, for handball, he still went on and buried it.
Yeah.
So, like, they seem to be, I mean, fingers crossed, they seem to be firing, all of them.
I mean, I wouldn't even show what the West Ham, I was going to say the only worry with West Ham is in terms of their attack and play, but then I'm not worried at all. Like, I've just been thinking about it then, as I said it.
West Ham never worry me.
Yeah, they don't worry me either, because I mean, Mikel Antonio is fit, which worries me a bit because he's got a bit of pace. But I just don't think Moyes has got it in him to set up to beat us.
I'll tell you what,
I mean, Crystal Palace scored 2 goals against them the other day.
Yeah, if Antonio plays, for me, it's going to be a massive game for... Now, I'm gonna say this now, we're getting onto the teams in a bit. Nat Phillips, I think it's going to be a massive game for him. I think he's got to play.
Yeah, Nat Phillips has to play against West Ham. They've got too many... David Moyes likes big players like Souček and stuff. They've got some really... Like, they've got a lot of height.
Physical.
Yeah, physical, tall players. Nat Phillips has to... I think I've seen a stat the other day. I'm sure in like every game he's played for Liverpool, he's never lost an aerial duel in the Prem.
He excites me, but he also scared me against Tottenham.
I wouldn't go that far as say he excites me, but
no, I mean his potential. Like he's not reached anywhere near it yet, but he's a big, strong lad, right? And he wins almost everything in the air. And within 2 minutes of him coming on the pitch, he absolutely cripples one of the Spurs players, and I was like, "Oh my god!"
He's a bit like Carragher, really. Carragher, he was a legend for us, but he wasn't world class, was he? He was just, he had the heart. Yeah, he had the heart and the passion and determination to want to win. But with Nat Phillips, I don't think he's good enough for the Premier League myself. I think Championship's probably his level, but if he's... Well, he didn't put a foot wrong. Obviously, Jay on the last podcast said he doesn't think he should ever play football, but when he came...
After that game, he did okay, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, he came on... When he played against Newcastle, he was man of the match for me, personally. And then when he came on at half-time, I was just like, oh my God. You bring... Like, I knew Matip's made a biscuit, but I was just thinking, you're bringing Nat Phillips on against Henderson, who Henderson's... was, to be fair to him, was world class as centre half against Spurs. But when he came on, I was just thinking, oh no, this is going to be a nightmare because they had Son. And then when Bale comes on, you're just thinking, oh my, Gareth Bale's running against Nat Phillips here. And to be fair to him, when he came on, he was fantastic. He was absolutely, I couldn't fault him. And I'd play him over Reece.
We are as fans, doesn't it?
Yeah, but I would definitely play him over Reece.
Against these for sure, yeah.
Yeah, and who knows, that could be the end of the defensive worries playing kids. Because before we go on to teams, do you think we're only going to bring one centre back in? Because I don't. I think we're going to bring two in,
I can't see us bringing two permanent centre backs in. If it's two, it'll be loans for me.
We've been looking at Diop from West Ham. Surprisingly enough, he doesn't seem to get in the team ever for them. He's a young... I think that one might be a purchase. I think we're looking with a loan. We are asked for a loan, but I've seen that West Ham said they want us loan with the guarantee of buy.
Option to buy it, yeah.
And then we've looked at MLS centre half. Now, well,
the American captain.
I don't really know much of him. But obviously, I've been doing things now for LFC Transfer Room, like videos and stuff, and a lot of them are American. And I was speaking to them, and he said he is good, but like really good, but they don't think he's Premier League good.
Yeah, he's another one of them that'll be a loan until their season starts, won't it? Because their season doesn't start till April or something.
But by that point,
point,
point, Van Dijk will be back.
That would be ideal if he's good enough.
Yeah, because they've already said Van Dijk will be back. He's ruled Gomez out in the West Ham press conference for the rest of the season. He said he doesn't think he'll be back this season, but didn't say about Van Dijk. Now, Van Dijk's injury is apparently not as bad as it was first reported. It was bad. It put him out for months. It was a bad injury. But the man's a monster anyway. But a short-term loan's all we really need. But then I feel as though we're probably going to go and get a better centre-half in terms of not Mustafi, Diop or someone.
Yeah.
And Mustafi, Mustafi's going to be a free. So I think that's the option you need to look at, because you can't rely on Matip. You don't really want Fabinho playing centre-half. You want him in that holding role because we've seen how good Thiago is playing further forward. So if we was to go and get the American international, and we was to go and get Diop, for example, it fixes it for now, and then by the time the American goes back to America, Van Dijk should be back, and it's him and Diop then.
Yeah, I mean, my concern about Diop is he's not getting in the West Ham team. So,
he's just out of form.
Yeah, I mean,
I think joining Liverpool gives you that. Like with Mustafi, he's not that good, but he's also not the worst option. I was looking at his stats before. I'll read some out in a sec. And he's not that bad, but like Graham said, he's very, very painfully slow. But I wouldn't say that he was bad, but I'd rather get Diop in terms of he's fast. He doesn't get in the West Ham team because he's not massive. I feel like Moyes prefers massive players. When he does play, he's a good defender. He's very much like Matip in a sense of very underrated. He's times his tackles perfectly. He's fast. He's good in the air. And I think we looked at Konate. Apparently, Liverpool buying Konate in the summer. Rumour has it from Leipzig. Now we've asked them about the availability of him now. They've basically told us no. Obviously, we're playing them in 3 weeks in the Champions League. We're just not going to get him. So I feel like it will probably be a loans, but I feel like Diop maybe might come in because it's only like 20 mil at the end of the loan if we bought him. And then I could probably maybe see Matip leaving at the end of the season. So then you'd then have Van Dijk, Gomez, Konate, and Diop as your options. But Mustafi, he's got a tackle success rate in all his seasons in the Premier League of 73%. He's had 195 interceptions, 348 header clearances. He's actually won more aerial duels than Van Dijk.
Right, okay.
He's won 416 aerial duels. He's won aerial battles. Sorry, he's won 674 duels. He's lost 417, which is concerning. But he's made 458 recoveries. This is in his whole time in the Premier League. And let's not forget that he's a World Cup winner.
Yeah. Is there a stat there for mistakes leading to goals?
Yeah. So I'll let you have a guess at it. In 102 appearances, how many mistakes leading to goals do you think he's had himself?
5.
3.
Okay, so that's not too bad at all.
I don't know how many seasons he's been in the Premier League for. If he's been here for 102 games, probably about 4 years, I'd say, wouldn't. He's been in the Premier League for 5 seasons and made 3 errors leading to goal. Yeah. So
I think I can count 2 that Van Dijk's made that have led to goals. So that puts that into perspective.
Yeah, I don't think he's as bad as people are making out. He is painfully slow. He's not that good, but then I just think he's better. He's a better option than Reece Williams and Nat Phillips, in my opinion. I'd say he's a better option than them two. But we'll see. We'll
see tomorrow against West Ham, won't we?
Yeah, we'll see in terms of who we bring in. Is it Monday window closes?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
So I'm going through a midlife crisis, though. Bicked me head and everything. I just need to
How old is where the cap had gone today?
I know, I've just realised I forgot to put the cap on. So, nightmare. I was trying to hide it till my hair come back. But it's a lockdown buzz cut, that's what we're going with. But yeah, the West Ham game, main threats for them.
Antonio, for me.
He's the obvious one, but looking deeper into the team, they've got a kid, Ben Rama, who they got from Brentford. He hasn't hit the levels he hit at Brentford yet this season, but he's a real talent, to be honest. He's a really good player. He will be good. It's just whether Moyes can get the best out of him. Jared Bowen, also unbelievable. I really do rate him. Declan Rice.
You still got Creswell?
Yeah, Creswell, left back. Declan Rice, I think he's really good. I think he's too good for West Ham.
We've been linked with him, haven't we?
Yeah, I wouldn't get him. I think if we're going to get a hold midfielder, we should look at that. Calvin Phillips, and that's the only one we should look at, really. Not Declan Rice, but we'll see. And then Thomas Suchek, who Mourinho dubbed as the new Fellaini, got 2 goals against Palace. He's a good player, really good player. Ogbonna, on corners and stuff, they're a real threat.
They're dangerous, aren't they, for sure?
Yeah.
Like.
And then obviously they got Fabianski in goal, who is a really good keeper, to be fair to him. Really good keeper. And then you've got
he's got it in him to have an absolute worldie against us.
Yeah, like most keepers do.
Yeah.
I look at Nick Pope. He's been crap all season, and well, he's still had 6 clean sheets or something when he played us, but he played like we've run against us. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's ridiculous, but I think every time I think of West Ham and playing them away, I just all I can think about is times we battered them.
That orange kit.
Yeah, with it when the Ox was unbelievable that game. Then even when he was in the old ground, was it the Boylan ground? I can't remember what it was called, but I felt like we always battered them there as well. And
it was Upton Park, wasn't it?
Oh, Upton Park. Where am I getting Boylan from?
I think that was the original name of the stadium.
But yeah, they're a good team, West Ham. Moyes is a good manager, realistically. He's not like, I know when to United was terrible, but Moyes is a good, when you think what he's done for Everton, they were always in and around where West Ham are now. Yeah. We're going into the game with West Ham. I know we're above them on goal difference, but they were 4th the other day. This West Ham team were fighting at the bottom of the table last year. Karen Brady was saying she wanted to null and void the season because she thought United went down and stuff. And
I'm pretty sure I tipped them to go down this year.
I think you might have. I can't find where that. I have to find that thing.
Sure, I said West Brom, West Ham, and someone else.
Yeah, I think you did say that they'd go down.
But I also said Chelsea will win the league, so you might as well be happy.
I can't wait to look back at them, at the final stage of the stands and see. Because my dark horse was Everton. They're actually, other than today, they're flying. Newcastle beat them, but that's just Everton, innit? They have a few good weeks, a few bad weeks. But yeah, with West Ham, I don't like them, to be honest. They're a team I can't stand, because more so like I got added more fuel to the fire when Karen Brady was like, "No, wait the season," and she's like, "Shut up, you." But they're a team I really don't like at all. And it's just a team that I always like to beat as well.
Yeah, which we generally do. If you go back over our past 10 results against West Ham, I'd be surprised if there's one defeat in there.
I don't know. I can't remember the last time they won us, to be honest. I'll have a look now.
I mean, even going back probably 15 years ago, we played West Ham at Anfield, and I was in the boozer opposite the Cop, talking to a few West Ham fans, and they were like, "We love coming up here, but we hate it." He said, "One, it's a boss day out. We love coming to watch the footy." He said, "But we never, ever beat you."
I don't think they do. We've won 77 games, drawn 37, and lost 28 total against them. I'm looking forward to it, to be honest, because when Liverpool are in confidence, usually we will fly, and I am really looking forward to it. I'm excited.
Yeah, I am. I'm looking forward to the game. I've been a bit anxious the past few weeks about games coming up, but this one I'm up for it already. But I might be a little bit previous, because by the time tomorrow comes, I'll probably be like dead nervous again.
Well, I think there'll be goals again. Like, you all laughed at me the other day when I said 4-0 against Tottenham. You said no chance. It could have been 4-1.
Could have been.
It wasn't for VAR. So give us your line-up then.
Okay, so it'll be Alisson, Trent, Nat Phillips, Henderson, Robertson, Thiago, Wijnaldum, Jones, Salah, Mane, Firmino.
Who's playing Holden?
Thiago, unfortunately. But I think against West Ham it won't really be required. I think we'll be on the front foot, so we won't be holding that deep anyway.
I'm going to go with the same team as you. However, Gini Holden. Gini Holden against Tottenham, and Thiago was more advanced, and look what happened. And also I feel as though Liverpool have stopped just trying to ping balls, just cross. Although Trent's ball for his assist although it was a cross from the halfway line.
Yeah.
So I feel as
that
though
was a pass, not a cross.
I looked at his stats, and I think in that game we made 11 crosses, and in previous games we were making like 40, 50 crosses a game. So yeah. I think there's something tactically changed, because in the United game in the FA Cup we only made like 11 or 12 crosses as well, and every game before that was real high cross numbers. So I think something tactically has changed at Liverpool. But I think Gini needs to hold. He was world class against Tottenham. Give the man whatever he wants. If he wants a 10-year contract on 500 grand a week, give him it. We don't want.
He was brilliant. He was solid, wasn't he?
And if you lose him for free, it's criminal. Like, why would you lose him for free? I know if he's not going to go to anyone in the league, he'll go to someone abroad, so it's not really affecting us. But
it might go in the Champions League.
Yeah. And he's a world class player. You don't let someone that good go for free. I know he's 30 now. I think that the issue is with his length of contract. He wants 3 years or 5 years or something. Liverpool only want to give him free. I can understand all that, but then Liverpool should just give him the 5-year deal. And if they only want to keep him for free, sell him in 3 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not the end of the world. But he held it against Tottenham, and we've seen just how good Thiago is.
Yeah.
Advanced. And with Thiago, don't you think he plays better once he gets on a yellow card?
Yeah. Like, I don't know whether it brings his focus back or whatever it does to him, but he likes to get booked, doesn't he?
Yeah, I mean, I've got numbers here for a video I've been doing for LFC Transfer Room. By the way, everyone needs to check that out. It's gone live this week. I'm trying to find now about Thiago.
He can't be fought off a suspension, him though.
I know. Wait till you hear this. That was stats in the Bundesliga last season. Average per game. Thiago averaged 3 dribbles, 75 passes, and 6 long balls. What do you reckon Thiago's pass accuracy was for the season?
I would say mid-90s.
90.5%. and he played basically all season.
Yeah, he averages about 100 touches a game, and
yeah, and he gets dispossessed less than one time a game.
Wow,
crazy numbers. And I think we seen how good he was against Tottenham because he played advanced. He's not, although he can play the holding role, he's not a holding midfielder. He's creative. He's an unbelievable creative midfielder. And I think.
What about the score prediction? I'll surprise you with mine. Like.
Trying to think now. I don't think Jones will play. I think the Ox will play. Like separate difference to your team. That's the only difference I'd say I'd think would happen. I'm gonna go 5-1 Liverpool.
Right, okay. That's not far from what I was gonna say. I was gonna say 6-0. I reckon I could see us turning up and absolutely just taking. And West Ham will not stand a chance if that happens.
I think I agree with you.
I can see Salah getting 2, Bobby getting 2, Manny getting 2.
The whole front three?
Yeah, the whole front three will get 2 each.
And you think that Salah or Manny won't be selfish if they're on 2 goals? Come on. I think the Ox will score. He likes playing against West Ham notoriously, even when he played for Arsenal. He's good against West Ham. I think the Ox will score. I'd like to see Jones curl one in as well.
Always.
I'm just excited. I'm really excited for the game. It's the first time I've had a buzz for the game in a few weeks, really. Like, that result has given me that feeling back that, like, yeah, maybe we can do something with this season. I'm expecting us not to win the league because it's one of them. Expect the worst, anything better's a bonus. Mm-hmm. So I don't think we'll win the league. I think we'll win the Champions League, which I'm not bothered if that happens. Yeah, if you win the Champions League, then the league, then the Champions League, then the league every year. I don't really care if you miss out on the other one as long as you're still winning silverware. Mm-hmm. I would go for say we probably do the Champions League, depending on who the centre halves are we bring in, because obviously we're going up against Leipzig, who are flying in the Bundesliga at the minute without Werner. But yeah, hopefully we it's another goal fest. Hopefully we've got a few things to celebrate. And yeah, big game, Steve. Big game.
It is. That Spurs one just put a spring in our step as fans. Now, imagine what that's done to the players.
Yeah, exactly. The players we made up. I think Trent will have a man of the match performance again against West Ham. I'm expecting big things. I just hope we don't get beat. I hope we don't draw. I just want to win, we just can't do anything but a win tomorrow. But we'll see. We'll speak about it probably on Monday, before the Brighton game on Wednesday. Mm-hmm. Got some boss stats to talk about with the Brighton game. Done my research on them, so massive amounts of research on them. So yeah. Nice one, as always, for coming on today. Nice one for Graham as well for coming on. Don't forget, if you're watching on YouTube, to leave a like, rate, and subscribe, comment. If you're listening on Spotify or any Apple Podcasts or anything, make sure you follow the podcast now as well. It's absolutely flying over there. And nice one to all the fans from around the world who are checking it out on that platform. But yeah, please do subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, because we're getting so many views now, a lot more than our subscribers. And when I'm looking, the average is like people who are watching the whole podcast but not subscribing. It takes 2 seconds. You may think it does not, and it really, really helps the podcast out. So please do that. Follow us everywhere, Redscast Podcast. And yeah, hopefully another win on Sunday.
Up the Reds.
Up the Reds, indeed.